July 4th, 1187. You are one of 20,000 men trapped on a burning hilltop with no water. Your tongue is so swollen you cannot swallow. Below you, 30,000 of Saladin's warriors are closing in. The greatest Crusader army ever assembled has 18 hours left to live. This is what you saw. No maps, no dates to memorize. For the next 15 minutes, you are there, inside the helmet of a sergeant who marched into the worst military disaster of the Crusades. Everything you are about to see is based on real chronicles, written by men who survived it. Stay until the end, because the final decisions of this battle will decide the fate of Jerusalem itself. Summer 1187. The Kingdom of Jerusalem has stood for almost 90 years, a Christian state carved into the heart of the Muslim world. But now, for the first time, the Muslim world has united under one man, Salah ad-Din, Saladin, a Kurdish general who built an empire from Egypt to Syria, and who has sworn to take Jerusalem back. In June, Saladin crosses the River Jordan with the largest army he has ever commanded, around 30,000 men. He lays siege to the city of Tiberias on the Sea of Galilee. But the siege is bait. What Saladin really wants is to pull the Crusader field army, the only force that can stop him, out of its safe, watered camp and into the open desert. King Guy of Jerusalem takes the bait. Against the advice of his own barons, he orders the army to march. 20,000 men, including 1,200 of the deadliest heavy knights on earth and the kingdom's most sacred relic, a fragment of the true cross. The distance to Tiberias, 30 kilometers, in July, through a plateau with no water. This is where you come in? Your name is Balian. You are 24 years old, a sergeant from the port city of Acre. You are not a noble knight. You fight on foot with a spear, a shield, and a padded coat that cooks you alive in the summer sun. Your pay is 8 coins a month. You joined because your father lost his fishing boat, and the army feeds you twice a day. You have fought skirmishes before. You have never fought a real battle. On the morning of July 3rd, your column leaves the springs of Sephoria, the last reliable water for 30 kilometers. Every man carries one waterskin. The commanders promise you will reach the Sea of Galilee by nightfall. You look at the hills shimmering in the heat ahead. Something in your stomach tells you they are wrong. The march begins well, then the sun climbs. By midday, the temperature passes 40 degrees. Your padded coat is soaked through. Your waterskin, half empty. And then they appear, Saladin's mounted archers. They ride in, loose their arrows into the column, and vanish before your crossbowman can answer. Again and again. Every hour, all day. Men begin to fall, and the column slows to a crawl. By evening, you have covered barely 20 kilometers. The vanguard can see the hills above the Sea of Galilee. The water is 6 kilometers away. 6. But the rear guard is under constant attack, and King Guy makes the decision that will kill the army. He orders a halt. You will camp for the night on the waterless plateau beside a double-peaked hill the locals call the Horns of Hattin. That night, no one sleeps. Saladin's men surround the camp so tightly that, as one chronicler wrote, not even a cat could have slipped through. And then the smell hits you. Smoke. They are burning the dry brush around the camp. All night, hot smoke rolls over 10,000 men dying of thirst. Somewhere in the dark, an army of 30,000 is singing, praying, waiting for dawn. Your sergeant tells you to rest. He says tomorrow you will drink from the lake. He was wrong. July 4th, dawn. The army forms up and tries to push toward the water. That is the entire battle plan now. Reach the lake or die. Act 1. The infantry, your people, are supposed to screen the knights with a wall of shields and spears, but thirst has broken the chain of command. Whole companies of foot soldiers simply walk away. They stumble uphill toward the horns, mad with thirst, ignoring the king's orders, ignoring the knights screaming at them to hold the line. The shield wall that protects the cavalry, the entire system Crusader armies are built on, dissolves in front of your eyes. Act 2. Saladin sees it, and he strikes. Waves of cavalry crash into the exposed flanks. The air turns black with arrows. The chroniclers say the sky itself disappeared. Count Raymond of Tripoli leads the last organized charge, straight downhill at the enemy line, and Saladin's commander simply opens the line. The knights thunder through, hitting nothing but air, and the line closes behind them. Raymond, the best soldier in the kingdom, is out of the battle. He rides away weeping. Act 3. What is left of the army, the king, the barons, a few hundred knights, and you, is compressed onto the horns of Hattin. You fight in a shrinking circle around two things: the king's red tent and the true cross. The Muslims charge uphill. Once, twice. The knights countercharge with horses so exhausted they can barely trot. And then, in the middle of the afternoon, you see it happen. The Bishop of Acre goes down. And the true cross, the relic your entire kingdom believes is the wood of Christ, falls into Muslim hands. A sound comes out of the army that you will never forget. It is not a scream. It is a moan. Minutes later, the king's tent collapses. It is over. So what happens to you, Balian of Acre? The chronicles tell us what happened to men like you. The knights were captured for ransom. Nobles are worth money. The Templars and Hospitallers, the warrior monks, were executed the next morning. And the common soldiers, the sergeants, the men worth nothing, sold. The slave markets of Damascus became so flooded with Christian prisoners that the price of a man dropped to 3 coins. One chronicler records a soldier traded for a pair of sandals. That is your ending. Not a hero's death in the songs. A rope, a road to Damascus, and a market square. King Guy survived. Saladin spared him, saying, "Kings do not kill kings." But Renaud of Chatillon, the lord whose caravan raids had broken the truce and started this war, Saladin executed him with his own sword, keeping an oath he had sworn years before. In one single day, the kingdom of Jerusalem lost its entire army. There was no one left to defend the walls. Within 2 months, Saladin took Acre, Jaffa, Ascalon, and on October 2nd, 1187, Jerusalem itself surrendered. 88 years of Crusader rule ended by one afternoon of thirst on a hill in Galilee. When the news reached Europe, Pope Urban III, according to legend, died of shock, and 3 kings picked up the cross in response: Philip of France, Frederick Barbarossa of Germany, and a red-haired warrior king from England whose name would become legend: Richard, the Lionheart. His war against Saladin may be the greatest duel between 2 commanders in medieval history, as the next episode. Tomorrow you wake up inside the Third Crusade. Subscribe, soldier. Dismissed.